Welcome to Talking Talk Therapy. We are here with our Richfield team, and we're going to introduce everybody. We're going to do things a little differently today and just bring you all in at once. So why don't we go around? We'll just do short introductions, say who you are, how long you've been practicing, and then maybe a little bit about some of the specialties or your clientele that you see on a daily basis. Cliff?
Awesome. Yeah. So my name's Cliff Walcott. I've been in the field, the social work field, for probably 15 years. There's been a variety of things that I've worked in, but so about 15 years I've been in the field, and I see a variety of people. A lot of the things I work with are anxiety, depression, relationship issues, things like that. So.
Okay. And you're at the school district as well, right?
Yeah, I work full time for the school district. I actually work in the elementary schools, so we're right at my maturity level.
Heart. Yeah, bless your heart.
So it's perfect.
Okay, let's go over to you.
All right. So I'm Shalice Sawyer. I also work for the school district. I'm out of middle school and alternative high school. But what I see in my clients is I work a lot with OCD, anxiety, depression. I see a lot of relationship issues, especially around intimacy and connection.
Cool.
That's kind of been a theme recently.
Yeah.
And
probably in most people.
Yeah, it really is. It's so much more common than,
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sage Blake. I also work at the school district. I work at a middle school and a high school. The clientele that I want to work with is youth, adolescents. I would really love to work with athletes. I grew up playing sports, and I love just watching the process of growth, and I feel like therapy is like that too. So
I think we should dive down that rabbit hole here in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll go to the sports.
Oh yeah. I'm Bracken Lovell. I don't work for the school district. I'm full-time at Ascend. I've been with Ascend 3.5, coming up on 4 years. I've also worked in the field a number of years, 9 years in the field. Been a full-time therapist for, like I said, about 3.5, 4 years. I specialize in couples therapy, high conflict couples. I love working with couples, just like Shalice said. A lot of intimacy issues, a lot of relationship issues with couples and families. And then OCD, I specialize in OCD and exposure therapy treatment, a lot of high anxiety, ADHD, and sports performance. I mean, we're in rural areas, so we treat a lot. We'll see anyone, but that's kind of my specialty there.
Yeah, and we've loved having you. It's been a lifesaver, honestly. So what I want you to do right now is just kind of let everybody know, why Richfield, what your plan is there, and kind of how you built the team that you've built.
Yeah, it's a great question. I've got some personal and professional reasons. So I love Richfield. I spent a lot of time hunting and fishing and camping up on Fish Lake, Monroe Mountain. I've always been kind of connected through sports in Richfield, playing baseball and wrestling growing up there. I'm from Delta, so it's not very far. I might get kicked out of Delta for jumping over to Richfield, but same type of community where, everybody kind of knows of everybody, and it's really warm and everybody supports one another.
Yeah.
I love that, and so those are my personal reasons. My wife and I love that kind of setting, and so we decided we wanted to move our family back to that. And Richfield specifically, on a professional note, I used to work with a company called Life Launch. I was a director over their virtual IOP program, and I did a lot of research when I go around to hospitals and talk to intake nurses, intake providers, and what I found were pretty astonishing numbers. One of the wildest one of the wildest statistics that I came across was in a rural community in Utah. I won't say the one, but they were getting six to 8 ER visits a week. A lot of them were young people, relatively healthy people, 6 to 8. Suicidal, related to suicidal ideation, suicide attempts, 6 to 8 a week. 2 of those, so about a quarter to a third, were going to they were going to inpatient hospitals, inpatient settings, and residential settings, but the 4 to 6 that were left were not getting any treatment. And so what I saw was there's a lot of underserved areas in Utah, and Richfield is one of them. Yeah. Right? We love Central Utah, like I said. And so back in September, I finally made the jump and started an office there. And it's been great working in the community, getting to know different providers, first responders, the sheriff's office. It's been pretty incredible. And then on top of that, found 3 incredible therapists. So I wanted to build a team of people who were very talented, that knew what they were doing, that knew what they stood for, and we're part of the community, right? Yeah. We want to give the impression that we're one of you, right? We're not some outsider that's coming in to say, hey, we're going to tell you how to live, what you should do, but we have kids' ball games that we go to, right? We're coaches and teachers, and I think that's how we connect with people, right? I'm big on that connection.
And that's probably the one thing that I think, even with this podcast or Ascend in general, from the ownership down, we've tried to accomplish, right? Is like it can be normal to just go see somebody that's a professional, and it's probably going to surprise you when you do get in the office and realize they're just a normal human too. Like even just sitting here talking amongst you guys, like athletes, moms, dads, educators, it's pretty clear that you're people of service, which is very great. But I grew up in Emery County, so just down the road, and it was kind of the same thing. There wasn't a lot of resources. It wasn't talked about at all if somebody was struggling with mental health. And so it's probably why I've been in the therapy world for 17 years now, is because of that stigma. And how do we normalize this? And it doesn't have to mean that you're crazy just to go see a licensed professional. Like sometimes there are just life challenges that I think you need help navigating through, and sometimes having an objective opinion just to go, hey, you're probably doing a lot better than you think you are. I think that was one of the first things that you had said on our first podcast was, hey, I bet you're doing better than you realize. And sometimes just having that validation is super helpful. And then once you build that relationship with people, you realize we're just all normal humans that struggle, and everybody's messed up in some way, and that's okay. So and there's no judgment.
Yeah, so if I can jump back in there, there's actually, just to your point of objectivity, there's three major reasons why therapy is effective, right? There's objectivity, like you mentioned. There's processing, right? We have to process emotion, thoughts, get those out on the table and work through some of those things. And then there's skill building, right? Yeah. And we build skills through that. Well, the number one predictor of success in all 3 of those is building that connection. Yeah. And so I just wanted to throw that out.
Relationships matter more than anything. Like there's nothing more important. I am curious, because my wife's vice principal, and I hear the stories. What are some of the things you guys are seeing, like as far as like common struggles, especially in small towns like that? Like what are some of the things you guys are seeing at the schools?
Mm-hmm. Let's go first.
Yeah.
I imagine most of it's surrounded by technology.
Yes, there's a lot of things, like bullying on technology, right? Social media. I see a lot of self-harm.
Really?
Wow. Yep, suicidal thoughts. Lots of anxiety and like performance anxiety, like especially with tests and grades, and there's a lot of pressure that I don't know if students are putting on themselves or if it's coming from parents, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of pressure to do good in school, and I think that filters into their life too, whether it's sports or whatever else they're doing. But if we're talking about the school aspect,
anxiety.
Anxiety with performance for sure.
Yeah. Where I do work at a high school, we see a lot of attendance issues right now. Like, it's crazy. Like, kids just don't want to come to school. Like, even for anything, like, we're doing a pool day, something fun, like, they don't want to come. Like,
high school's like a buffet menu now. It's like, I want a little of this, I don't want this, I'll go online for this.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, I see, we have, my youngest has special needs, and sometimes we need help with, like, rides. And we have a friend whose daughter's like, well, I don't have a first period, so I can just take him on those days. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a first period? And she's like, I don't have first period. And I'm like, so when do you get to school? She's like 10 o'clock.
Right.
And I'm like, what? I don't know how it was for you guys, but it was like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Yep. And if you had a snow day, we'll tack it on at the end of the year. We didn't have a half day. Bracken hears me all the time. I'm like, wait, we have early out all week. They're out at noon all week. You're like, why? It drives me crazy.
And homework's optional.
Homework's optional, and then it's like, y'all do online for half my stuff, and who's really holding them accountable there.
Exactly.
Like it's an interesting dynamic for sure, and I do feel like it pulls a little bit of the social stuff away.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not gonna say that homeschooling doesn't work, because I've seen it work, but I feel like when you're like half in, half out, it almost feels like the level of commitment's not there too, and it doesn't surprise me that like there's a high level of anxiety because there's so much uncertainty in their day. There's no structure, and I come from 12 years of working in treatment centers, and the one thing that worked was the structure. And it seems like a lack of structure makes teenagers go, what's the speed limit? Like, I don't know what the speed limit is, so it's like this unknown. It's like, well, I guess I'll just wing it. And it seems like it kind of sets them up for some failure for sure.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I feel like our schools are pretty good, like as far as like trying to get kids there and make it fun for kids to be there. I feel like we do a really good job of like, we have awesome teachers, we have really awesome administration. One of the things I've seen, especially at the elementary level, when we look at like behavior issues and things like that, is the impact of screen time and how that impacts the way kids can regulate their emotions and their behaviors. And the more I've studied and looked into that, and the more I've worked with kids, even at school, like that, the amount of screen time is really like, it makes a big impact on so many different areas, especially that emotional regulation. I don't think we fully understand that, even as parents. Like, I've seen that with my own kids, right? When you're like, okay, dude, like, you got to get off the phone.
You're disassociated.
You're like, we did this too much. Yeah. And now he's mad, right? But I feel like that makes a big impact, and that has a big impact on their academics and the way they behave that way. So,
do you guys feel like the pendulum is kind of swinging though? Like, some parents are like, okay, like we were told it was safe, just like everything else that we were told was safe. Like, doctors smoked during your doctor's visits back in the 70s, 80s, right? Because they're like, oh, smoking's not bad for you. And come to find out it is. And I feel like the same thing's kind of happened with the phone. They're like, oh, social media is awesome. It's going to help people connect. And it's like, actually, it's more of a disconnect. There's a lot of envy, the comparison, and now suicidal rates are through the roof. And But I do feel like parents are becoming more aware. And I've kind of noticed, especially around social media, it's like, we just don't do it. Like, you can have a phone, but we're not doing the social media thing. And kids are going to try, obviously.
Yeah.
And in our defense, as parents, right, we really are the first generation of smartphone parents, right?
Yeah.
Like,
We're learning,
right? And we've screwed up along the way, and hopefully we maybe fix some of it. But
I liked one of our owners. He had one of our therapists. He was like, so when is a good time? Like, I have all these parents like, hey, when do I give my kid a smartphone? Like, when can I give him social media? And he was like, as soon as you're ready for him to look at porn. And it seems like that really is, like, as harsh as that sounds, it's like, that's the responsibility you're essentially giving them.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, like the things that have popped up without me even looking. Like, I'm like, I do not need to see this. Like, why am I seeing this? I'm looking at hunting all day, and all of a sudden I see something that I shouldn't. It's very scandalous, and I'm like, that's so wrong. But as an adult, I can decipher, like, I don't need to see that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old teenager with raging hormones,
No.
like, you're gonna go down a doom scroll, like, right? Like, and then we get into the, like, I'm disassociated and I'm not present, and I think we run into a ton of issues with that.
Yeah.
So one thing I did want to ask, are you guys still feeling like there's a little bit of a stigma in the small town of, like, I am not going to therapy? Like, that's the shrink. I'm not crazy. I don't have that big of problems. Like, do you guys still see that? Because St. George has kind of turned the corner of, like, it's okay to go to therapy, and we probably really need it for our youth. But are you guys still seeing that stigma exist?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can jump in on that first.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that too. But I see it a lot. I mean, even just in the last week, I've had 3 different people comment on it, right? I never would have done this. Almost like they've got to get off their chest that this isn't normal for them, right? And that's part of us being human, right? We need to connect. We like to get those insecurities out there, and it's good. That tells me it's a safe space and they're trying, right? But it is. There's a lot of people, I have family members included, that probably myself several years ago, right? Like, I would have never done that. But now understanding what it is and what it's like and finding those people to connect with is huge. It's huge. It's like having a mentor. Right, I had a comment just last week that said, "You're the only shrink I know, man." So I was like, "Perfect. I can find you some more." But no, it is. I've found it to be a little bit of a stigma. I do think it's changing.
Yeah. Small towns seem to take a little longer.
Yeah, for sure. So I work primarily with like teens and adults, but I've noticed I kind of want to target the men population.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed, and I don't know where this comes from. I don't know if it's because I was raised with brothers and I have boys. I don't know, but I feel like men specifically, they grow up and they're told like, don't worry about it, like be tough, you're good, brush it off, like that sends the message, don't
talk about it.
Don't talk about it, don't feel your feelings, it's not okay, it's not safe, right? And so I think with men specifically, there's a huge stigma, right? Because it makes them feel like it's a weakness and that they're a burden, and there's so much pressure that they carry, and it's I feel bad, right? That there's that stigma that they feel like they can't seek the help. And honestly, like in my opinion, like getting help is hard. I've been there, I've had to ask for help, and I know how hard it is, but also like that's a strength too. I think because it is so hard, that means you're strong and you're brave, and it says a lot about your character, right? Like you are willing to.
I think it shows a lot of humility too. Like I know I'm dropping the ball on the way I'm parenting right now, and I don't know how to do it. Like my wife and I have had that conversation of like, man, I'm not handling this transition into teenager with our daughter very well. I constantly the benefit of working here is I get to just ask with other therapists like, hey, how do I do this? Because I'm not handling this well, and I think if people had that mindset of like, there's gonna be different life transitions that are hard in their own ways. Hey man, help me figure this out, because I'm not doing a good job, or am I doing a good job? And maybe you can validate that for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
And also, I think people too think that therapy, you only go to therapy when you're in crisis, and that's just not it. You can go anytime. Like we all have hard things that happen to us, and sometimes we just need a little bit of help. And
I think being proactive versus reactive is always better as well. Like even premarital counseling, like, hey, help us find some tools that we're going to need, because we know we're going to encounter obstacles along the way, and we don't want to just throw our hands up and say, why did we do this? We don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
So
one thing I've heard too is people think that they go to therapy and the therapist is just going to give them all this advice and tell them what to do. And that really, it's a really collaborative thing. And one thing I tell my clients when they come in, this might be a really stupid analogy, but I use it. But I tell them, you like, I'm the co-pilot, you're the pilot. You're the one flying the plane. Like, you know your life. You're the expert. You know what you want, your goals. Yeah, I have tools to help you find it, but I can support you and I can help you look for obstacles in your way, or help prepare you for that storm or turbulence, right? That we're gonna hit, but you're not alone. We might not be able to take it away, but we can help support you and help kind of like navigate. And
the word coach kind of comes to mind sometimes. Like you said, you're a former athlete. Like I know the work I need to do. I also know my weaknesses, and it helps sometimes to have a coach that can see that from the outside looking in. So absolutely. I think that's a good way to put it, for sure. So no, that's not a dumb analogy.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can help you like look at the blind spots, right? Like sometimes it is helpful to get a different perspective when we're too close to the situation. It's hard for us to see. Sometimes we need to step back and zoom out. And yeah.
What about you? What else are you seeing?
I don't know. What have I not talked about yet?
I think the youth is kind of more of like the people that are turning the corner of like, we'll come to therapy. It's been popularized. Is that how you say that? Yeah.
And I do see that. Like, I think a lot of times parents will be like, I'll get my kid into therapy, but I'm not gonna go. Right?
Yeah.
And I think there's power in that, right? When a parent can say like, hey, let's do this. Yeah. You can go, I'll go. We can work on some stuff. We can get better together, right? Like, I think there's a lot of power in that.
I think a lot of people assume that a therapist is going to be like, hey, you're the problem.
Yeah.
you're wrong, and I don't think anybody ever takes that approach as a therapist. Like it's not a finger pointing thing.
Absolutely not.
It's probably going to be more like, hey, have you ever thought about trying this, or maybe here's something that'll help, but like I want to ultimately support your goals of whatever your parenting style is. But I think a lot of parents are going to be a little cautious because they're like, I'm going to get called out, and that's not what happens.
And no one wants to hear that they're doing something wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in the sports world?
Oh, I don't know.
Do we want to jump down that rabbit hole?
I will say, like, when it comes to injuries, like, I feel like it takes such a toll on kids' mental health because sports is their life in high school, right? For example, like, my little brother, huge athlete, like, played varsity since he was a freshman in all 3 sports, tore his ACL going into his junior year, and his mental health, like, watching that as, like, a sister and family, like, trying to rally around him was so hard, but it was, like, he got into talking to, like, some friends that tore their ACL and, like, a sports psychologist, and that helped so much.
Yeah.
So I feel like recovering from injuries is huge. Like,
You don't identify as the athlete.
Right.
That's not who you are.
Right.
And that was, you and I went down that rabbit hole. We both played collegiate sports, and when it was over, it was like, who am
Now
I?
what?
Yeah,
now
that's
what?
like that's your
What's my goal
life.
here?
Yeah, like, and,
Yeah.
and I feel like if there was any message I wanted to send parents, it's like, please teach your kids it's not their identity.
Yeah.
And parents, and I'll say it, this is my hot take, you do not have to have validation through your kid's sports performance.
Yes,
That
for
it
sure.
does not matter how they do. Like, take him fishing.
Yeah.
Have a healthy relationship with him. It doesn't matter if he does well or not.
Right.
And when my kid first started playing sports, I think naturally he was like always looking over at me from the dugout, and I'm like, dude, why do you keep looking at me?
Yeah.
And he's like, just see if you're mad or not. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
If you strike out, I don't care. If you make a bad throw, I don't care. And so I just started to give him a thumbs up every time he'd peek at me, because I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, you're good.
Yeah.
And I said, but if you start screwing off and you're not listening
Right.
and you're
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
problem, like I'm going to come at you, because your character to me is what
Yeah.
matters most.
Yeah.
I don't care if you strike out. I struck out. Everybody strikes out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it
And
doesn't
that's when
matter.
you learn the most, is when you
Yeah.
do mess up. You do strike out, or you
Yeah.
do lose. Like,
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I watch some of these dads, and trust me, I'm competitive, and my wife's even worse. But I watch some of them, they're just pacing, and they're mad. And I'm like, dude, it does not matter. Calm down.
Right.
Like, build a healthy relationship with him. Take him fishing. Go camping. Support him in sports. And yeah, like, teach him to be competitive. It's okay. But like, your validation as a parent does not need to come off of whether or not he did well today.
Because there's enough pressure there already, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
a
already
ton.
have that pressure.
A
Yeah.
ton.
And
And
I think, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm sure in a small town, sometimes it gets, in my experience, it gets even more intense,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, communities thrive on that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to the Friday night football games and the
Yeah.
baseball games and the softball games. You know, people love that, right?
Yeah.
Basketball's huge in Richfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, softball, and South Severe. But I think, too, going back to your point about identity, and like Cliff said, I think that we have to be adaptable, right? Times are changing constantly. I look back at even 20 years ago, to get ahead in sports, you just had to work harder, right? Because there was a lot fewer people going out into competitive sports as 5-year-olds, right? They weren't going out into competitive sports. Now 90% of kids are going out into competitive sports at a younger and younger age. And so I think we've kind of, like you mentioned, the pendulum, Trevor, I think the pendulum's swaying back the other way, and we have to remind people that they value outside of sports, right? That they have an identity outside of this one thing, which I get it. I've been there. I love sports. That was my life. But you have to learn. You know, there's a wrestler. I wrestled with a guy in high school. His name's Brock Hardy. He wrestled at the University of Nebraska. Had a lot of success, and he has a tagline. He says, "Wrestling is fun." Now, I don't know where he got that. I don't know if he's psychology. I don't know if he's coming into this world or worked with one, but I love that because he's on the biggest stages in the world champion, national finalist, you know, wrestling on the biggest stages.
Yeah.
And he comes out of that saying, wrestling is fun. You know, at the end of the day, if I lose, I have a wife that loves me. I have a family that loves me, right? Like, my life goes on.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing a lot of high-level athletes go to that mindset because times have changed.
Yeah. And it should be fun. And if
Yeah.
there's too much pressure, it does take the fun out of it, huh?
That would be probably my biggest advice to my younger self is like, dude, this does not have to be stressful.
Right.
Like, calm down. You don't need to almost vomit before every game. Like,
Right.
it's okay.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I think sometimes you feel that pressure because you're like, I don't want to let teammates down. I don't want to let coaches down. And I think that's the importance of having good people in communities that say, guys, tone it down.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
fun. And to have professionals in a smaller community like you guys, I think is going to be even better. So it's awesome you're there. My last question for everybody, and you each have to answer this, sorry. Putting you on the spot. What's your one piece of advice for somebody that's on the fence about coming to therapy?
Yeah.
In no particular
Oh.
order.
Let me answer this. Okay, so I was actually on the fence about coming to therapy, and I was talking to Shalise about it, and she gave amazing advice, and she's like, if you're on the fence about it, you already know your answer. Like,
Oh, wow.
just go, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have everything to gain from it, and you really have nothing to lose from
Yeah.
going to therapy, right? Like, it's,
That's great advice.
yeah,
So
it
that's
was
your
great. I'm
advice
like,
too.
oh, cool. Yeah, that's Shalise's advice.
Yeah, it's for both of you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You
She just
said it
killed two
too,
birds with one
yeah.
stone there,
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, for me, like, I know that first step is really hard, right? It takes a lot of guts to make that call, and then it takes even more guts to show up, right?
Yeah.
But I would say my advice is just do it. Just come in and come see. Like,
Where are you out?
yeah, like, and there's no judgment, right? Like, we're in a place where we are not going to judge. Like, this is a place for you to come in. You can unload whatever you want to, and we're going to support you through that. The one thing I think too is life is like, I don't know, you're not supposed to go through it all by yourself. You know, you don't have to carry all this stuff alone.
Yeah.
And you don't have to carry it all the time. Come in and unload it, right?
Well, and the best part is therapists are the best secret keepers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They literally can't tell you
Yeah.
secrets.
It goes
Yeah.
nowhere, right?
It's nowhere.
You can't, and I know that sometimes probably throws people off in a small community because it's like everybody knows
Yeah.
everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out.
Somehow connected.
Literally cannot tell anybody
Yeah, it will
anything.
not go. It will
So
not go
it
anywhere.
doesn't leave the four walls we're in right here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you've answered this before, but I think it's one of the best answers I've ever heard. So I think you should say it.
Yeah, I'll reiterate. I guess you guys have heard me before. Probably get sick of my advice, but I think the first thing I'd have to say, probably what you're alluding to, is why. Why are you on the fence,
Yeah.
right? If you look at anybody in the pinnacle of success in any avenue of life, if they embody, anybody that embodies success, they have a coach, a mentor, good friends, good teachers, somebody that walked with them through the journey, through the process, and helped them along the way. And I'm talking people at the pinnacle of success in
Yeah.
society. Why not us, right? We don't need to do life alone. We produce a hormone called oxytocin that we need. We crave connection. We need that. And the second thing is, I guess, more blunt, but therapy is not for the weak, right? It's hard. I find that growth is often on the other side of discomfort, right? You have to get uncomfortable to grow. And so, I mean, I guess that's my invitation is, do you want to grow? Do you want to find some success in whatever thing that you're trying to do in your life right now? Then do it.
Yeah.
Walk in. I have 3 incredible therapists sitting right in front of me, right? And it's a wonderful place to be.
I think the one thing that I will compliment the leadership and all of us here at Ascend is I know that every one of the therapists that we hire, I would personally see. And I would send my kids to. And that brings me a lot of confidence. And so I think Richfield's lucky to have you guys, especially where it's such a small community and it needs the support. And, people are struggling. It's weird times. And I think we're juggling more now than we ever have. Yeah. Right? Like we're not just worried about the farm. We're not just worried about, the next harvest. It's like kids have sports and grades and both parents are usually working and it's a ton to juggle. Yeah. So somebody's willing to give you an hour of undivided attention to sort through the chaos, like I would take that opportunity to do it. So I hope that message is heard loud and clear in all of our communities and where our locations are, and we can help as much as we can. And even if it's not Ascend, like there are other great therapists throughout
Yeah.
southern Utah and central Utah and
Yeah.
go find someone. We do 15-minute free consults for a reason. See if
Right.
we're a good fit. You could use them for every therapist if you wanted.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we got to meet. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. that's
And
good.
yeah, we'll just help however we can. So,
Yeah.
Thanks,
okay.
Trevor.
Yeah, thanks
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.